really wish I did this sooner because it would have made journaling so much more effective for me, and it would have helped me tackle a lot of the anxiety I had about certain things and really get to the root of it and snatch it out of my life. Yeah. My name is Hind. If you don't know me, if this is your first time watching one of my videos, I am a mom, I'm a law student, and I created this channel to basically share what I've learned from going to therapy, from reading a lot of self-help books, and from just trying to make my life easier and more peaceful and more grounded and happier. Thank you for being here. Today, I'm going to share a journaling technique that I've recently started to implement that has helped me really get to the core of things that I was struggling with internally and figure out why I was struggling with them, and then find new ways to think about them or dismantle those really negative and toxic thoughts that I had attributed to those things. This was sort of inspired by the fear setting technique that Tim Ferris talks about. And so I sort of have implemented what he does in that technique to what I've started to do with this specific journaling technique. So I've been journaling for a long time, and when I started it, I was just sort of, just doing free flow journaling, just writing down my thoughts, writing down how I felt about certain things, writing down what I wanted to do, things that I've observed. And it wasn't really like a challenging practice. It was not something that was emotionally or mentally challenging me. It was sort of just a way to expel my thoughts and my feelings and my emotions and things like that. But I got to a certain point where I stopped journaling for a while because I really didn't feel like it benefited me that much anymore. When I go back and read some of my old journal entries, they just felt like super cringy. I felt like I was writing dishonestly, if that makes sense. Like, I felt like I was journaling in a way that I thought you were supposed to be journaling. I felt like I was writing observations and depicting them in a way that I thought you were supposed to. Almost as if I was doing something like that was just really dishonest and not genuine on my part. It's really weird to explain this because, like, have you ever just like read something you wrote in a journal or something private and you're like, what the fuck, like, that's not how I talk, that's not how I think, that's really just like some surface level shit that I am transporting on 2 pages. And that's why I stopped journaling for a while. But after I heard about Tim Ferriss's fear setting technique, I decided to sort of implement it. Basically, fear setting as a writing technique or journaling technique is used to dismantle the fears you have about a certain decision or a goal or a life move. He specifically explains that he did it when I think he went on a trip to the UK, and he wrote down all of the things that could go wrong as a result of him going on this trip, and then what he could do to counter those things if they went wrong. For example, he said he could, he was going to London, I think, or somewhere in the UK, so he was worried about it being cloudy all the time and not having sunlight, so he decided he was going to take like a UV light or something like that to counter the effects. So basically what you do with fear setting is that you think about what could go wrong if you have a certain goal. Like, for example, if you want to move to a different city where you know nobody, you think about all the things that could go wrong and all the things that you're afraid of that might happen when you decide to move forward with this goal. And then when you've thought of all of this stuff that you're afraid of, you then write a list of things to directly counter what you're afraid of. So if you're afraid of not having any friends there or not knowing anyone, the counter to that would be maybe taking a class or participating in a group extracurricular activity, joining a gym, going to like a networking event. So what you do is you basically find out what you're afraid of and then see the things that you can do to reduce the chances of that happening or to kind of dismantle that fear. So I sort of inadvertently did this when I was just sort of free flow journaling my thoughts. So what I started to do lately is write about things that made me feel not great. So I've been really paying attention to my feelings instead of my thoughts. I've been journaling about how I've been feeling about certain things. So there is this one incident that has made me just very anxious and made me feel all sorts of negative emotions. And every time I think about it, I feel so bad. And I guess I'll say what it is. So the thing was, I went on a trip a while ago. It was a very short trip, but it did not go as planned. And I thought it was gonna be this like really cool, relaxing thing, but it was not, for many reasons. So every time I think about going on a trip similar to that one now, I start getting all these feelings of anxiety. I feel like I'm gonna waste my money. I just have all these just really horrible thoughts, and that prevents me from even trying to plan another trip. Yeah, it just makes me feel bad. So as you can imagine, it's really hard to try to move forward when you've had a bad experience with a certain thing. And it could be with anything. You could apply that to anything. You could have had a bad experience hanging out with a specific person and you don't want to hang out with them anymore. You could have had a bad past relationship and you just fear getting into a relationship now, or the thought of getting into a relationship just gives you so much anxiety because of what you've experienced in your past. So I was sick of feeling really bad and having all those negative emotions attached to that vacation, because a lot went wrong during that specific vacation, and it like traumatized me in a way, and it caused me to just not want to go to that place anymore. It caused me to not want to do the things that I did, which if I do now would probably like be really fun for me. So what I did, here is the technique. So here's the technique. If you've skipped over to this part, that's cool. So what you want to do is, it's basically 3 parts. First, you want to just free flow journal and write about how you feel and what you think about, this negative experience that you've had in the past, or this fear that you have about doing something new. And you can free flow write for as long as you want. The point of this is to really kind of loosen up your emotions and your thoughts and your feelings about this, so it becomes easier for you to do the next steps and figure out what it is that you really did not like about this experience, or what it is that you specifically fear about this experience. So after you feel like you've gotten a good amount of your thoughts and your feelings out, the next thing is to write down everything in a list that you did not like about that experience. Write down the things that you're afraid will happen. Write down the things that you really felt were unpleasant and that you want to avoid and never want to experience again, or things that went wrong, or things that you're afraid will go wrong and you don't want to experience. Format this however you'd like. What I did is I just made a list and I did sort of like categories. So for example, I talked about the hotel I stayed at. I didn't like it, and I wrote down all of the things that I did not like about that experience. And I also wrote down other things that were related to like my mental health and a bunch of other stuff. So I categorized what I did not like about that experience. So the last part of this exercise, I think like the most beneficial part, and this part is the one that requires you to be a little creative. The last part is to look at everything you wrote down in your list of why you did not like that experience, or why it was not good for you, or why it brought up, bad feelings for you, and counter that with a point that will help you avoid that in the future. So for me, I realized that I did not like staying at that hotel because I felt super uncomfortable, because I really did not like hotels. And you'd think that I already know this about myself, but I didn't. So Yes, I did not. When I really thought about it, when I got it all down on paper, when it was right in front of me, I realized that everything I wrote down in the hotel category of why I did not like that experience were things that were specifically like they were characteristics of a hotel. I am much more introverted, so I can get overwhelmed when there's a lot of people around, which is always the case when you're in a hotel. I did not like the fact that, I couldn't cook. I didn't feel like it was very homey, um, which is another thing about a hotel. And I really like hanging out in my living room, which I did not have in the hotel. So I figured out that in order to avoid all of these negative experiences that I had, I should probably not stay in a hotel the next time I travel somewhere, and I should probably stay in an Airbnb because it's basically a home. And I know for myself that it's pretty difficult for me to adjust from one, setting to another. So, although, there are super nice hotels out there, I figured out from this exercise that the best thing for me to do, the best thing to kind of reduce my anxiety and increase my ease and comfort when I travel is to basically stay in a place where I'm able to cook, where I'm able to lounge around, where is not going to be like a huge crowd of people in the lobby every time I go down, and where it would make more sense to me mentally to be in a place like that. So basically what you want to do is free flow, write about this experience that you had or this fear that you have about a certain goal, and then write down everything that can go wrong, and then write down how can you can reduce those. So it's pretty much the fear setting technique that Tim Ferris talks about, but with the added step of sort of before you get into it, you have to free flow journal just so you can get your mind off of it. And I did try to do fear setting just without the journaling part at first, without just free flow writing at first, and it didn't work as well for me because I was not, I don't know, I feel like that the first part when you're just journaling and writing down whatever, I feel like that's just a warm up, and it really helped me get into figuring out why I was having this anxiety and all these negative emotions attached to this one specific experience. So yeah, I really think that, so after I did that, I felt so much better about planning something else in the future, about going back to that same city, about just knowing myself better. After I finished that exercise, I felt so much better because I was able to really figure out why I was having such negative reactions and why I was having negative emotions associated with that experience. And I was able to sort of break them down and figure out ways that I can reduce that happening in the future, or just entirely remove those anxiety causing experiences or things that I was doing. So that helped me a lot. And yeah, I hope it helps you guys. I hope you found this useful and helpful. And I also would appreciate if you left me feedback. I am really trying to grow this channel and this community, and I'm really excited to be sharing things that I've learned because, I'm not just going around and sharing things that I've read in books. I'm actually sharing the things that have really made an impact in my life and things that I found to be useful. There's so much advice that we get about how to, just be better people, to have better, more fulfilling lives. And I feel like a lot of that it's pretty difficult to sift through. So I really created this platform. I created this channel, and I'm hoping that it'll grow to be a really positive community for people. And I'm only sharing the things that have actually made a difference in my life. Yeah. So if you did watch this video and if you've been watching my content so far, I really appreciate your support, and I would appreciate if you subscribed and liked the videos and shared them with people that you think might benefit from them. I'm trying to reach as much people as possible, and I'm also trying to learn from as much people as possible. So your feedback and your support really helps me do that. So thank you for watching, and I will see you next time.